Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. It is May 31, 2019? Yes, that's the year. How's everybody in the chat doing today? Hello, Peter, KDM, Ben, Stejan, MLC, Ben, Asif, Brian, hello. Lots of familiar faces. Hello, hello. Hey, Michelle, Eileen, Sally, Uncle Gan, Nitora, Peter, Cecilia. Hello, hello. Well, today, going to be go over a couple things here. We've got the marketplace improvements. I want to get kind of some feedback as well. So if you've had the chance to use a marketplace, you can start thinking that over a little bit. Quick little updates about mobile and give everyone a fill-in on how the Valor Rift is coming along. So on that note, I will make myself smaller. So first off, I thought we'd start with the marketplace. So if you've had a chance to use the marketplace, earlier in the week we launched a variety of improvements and updates. We certainly get lots of feedback, suggestions, Feedback Friday on the Facebook page, on the forums, within groups, Discord as well. So we were hard at work on that for a few weeks, tested everything out, and launched that just this Tuesday. So if you've had a chance to try the updated marketplace, how have you found it so far? What other sort of tweaks or improvements, what other clarity could we add? Did that help out? I think a big source of confusion was with the tariff, so hopefully we addressed that. Let us know kind of what you thought if the tariff, or what you think of the tariff, if it's easier to understand now. Marketplace is much better now. I can actually easily tell what price someone is going to pay. Much better. Seems to work well. Cool. Hopefully that when you go to sell an item, you can fill in, if you haven't seen it yet, you can do I'll get, or you can fill in they'll pay. And when you fill in one field, the other one automatically gets filled in, so it does the math for you. And hopefully that made it a lot easier when you're looking at what other people are selling for, including the tariff. You can set your price including tariff as well. So if you want to make sure you're the cheapest item on the marketplace, it's a little easier to do, or maybe you want to be the third cheapest, it's a little easier to line that up. Yeah, Thomas says easier to undercut. Cool. Stejan says, could a small number be added with the relative price of an item to Superbri? Besides that, people want to buy quick sell back, but I personally don't. Marketplace is amazing. That's interesting. It'd be interesting to hear what other hunters think, if you often kind of value things, and how many pieces of Superbri is that? I think if we did do something, it feels like the type of thing that might be good as a toggle, because this might be a little information overload. There's already a lot going on, so if somebody kind of new to the marketplace just dealing with gold, I don't know if they'd want to also see the value of everything in terms of pieces of Superbri. As it says, Chrome skins are too expensive in the market, bring rounds back. I assume you mean the upgrade kits. Well, when she comes back, she tends to bring a kit with her. Maybe hover over price for relative Superbri price. Yeah, it'd be interesting if it's kind of hidden away a little bit. Is there any particular reason for the 10% tax, since a lot of people trade with Superbri? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many players do that sort of thing. Now, in the marketplace, you have to sell everything for gold, so it's a little different. Maybe what would be a better fit there would be a feature where you can do a trade with players. So rather than sort of the auction house marketplace kind of system where people sell items for gold or you buy items for gold, something more where I can send you a request to trade and I put up what I want to give you and you put up what you want to give me. We accept, we confirm, and then the items change hands. I know that was kind of kicking around the idea bank for a little bit. That might be a better fit in terms of when you want to pay somebody with Superbri, or you want to exchange, hey, I'll give you a sandblasted metal for 2 Sphinx crystals or something. Just do the conversion to Superbri. Yeah, to me, anyway, it feels like it's a little bit of a more advanced sort of thing, kind of a power marketplace user sort of functionality, but kind of be interesting to hear what other hunters have to say. And with that in mind, you might just kind of have a little calculator open on the side and take the price, divide it by the current price of Superbri to try to, if that's how you want to gauge what the value of items are. Brian misses the old marketplace where each hunter had a URL to send players to trade directly rather than search for an order of a specific price and quantity. Not sure I follow what you're saying there. Trade charm bits for a co-kit, yeah. Talking about her, do the devs think last year's visit was cheap, average, expensive compared to what we can expect when she returns? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, she comes with a pretty standard loadout of items that have been a similar price for several years. Tibby can't stay on the new marketplace. Why can't I click on a buy order at the bottom and just get the item? Yeah, that was a little polarizing. That's how it originally worked, where you could click that buy order and it would sort of auto-populate the field, and then you could click to confirm to create your order. But yeah, certainly if there's demand for that, maybe we could revisit that, try to streamline it. Some players found it confusing. They would click the buy order thinking that they were selling and click the sell order thinking they were buying. Maria, I also miss the old marketplace. This new one's not very user-friendly. It only shows 4 buy and sell orders. It's a little bit shift in mentality, certainly, where instead of thinking about I'm buying a order that somebody has up, you're just buying an item and you're deciding, well, how much am I willing to spend on this item? And then you can purchase from multiple people that way. And so I'm confident once you get used to that change, you'll find it a lot more convenient because it's just less tedious. Let's say you have 7,000 simple orbs and you want to sell them all. It's like, I don't need these things. Other people want them. Cool, I want to sell them. In the previous system, it was very tedious to go and find a bunch of orders to try to fulfill, as well as if you wanted to set your price, you had to create an offer to sell, but odds are nobody wants all 7,000, right? So in the new system, it's much more convenient to be able to sell, I want to sell all 7,000 and I want 3,000 gold each, and you just throw that up there and you might sell one orb to 7,000 different people, or you might sell all 7,000 to one person, or any combination in between. So I'm confident once you get used to that change, you'll find that it's actually quite easier to use. It's much more liquid, but it is a little bit more of a learning curve because it's a little less straightforward. It did certainly introduce some challenges with the tariff, so hopefully we got that right. We resolved any confusion there. Certainly in the old marketplace is a lot more clear because you could see unit price, number of items, total, and then the tariff was added onto the grand total. And so I feel like it had a better real world connection where when you buy something from a shop, you might say, cool, I'm going to buy 4 of these chocolate bars. And they're 99 cents each. So when you get up to the cash register and that comes to just under $4, and then the tax gets added on top of that at the end, it felt a little bit more intuitive. But unfortunately, there's no way to adapt sort of a system where you can do partially fulfilled orders and add the tax at the end like that. Unfortunately, the tax has to get added on each individual item to get that to work out. Thomas says, is it possible to not equip all cheese in one click with Marketplace cheese? You can hide in a Marketplace offer, but not so for others. Queso? If I follow you, maybe you're asking for something where you don't have to, where you can arm just a little bit of cheese at a time. That has been chilling out in the idea bank for a while, kind of going back and forth whether it's something we want to do. It would certainly help in areas like, say, the Labyrinth, where you could arm 10 pieces of glowing Gruyere, and you know that's going to take you to the end of the hallway, and then you'll basically stop hunting there. Or in Queso Geyser, when there are 47 hunts left in your eruption, you could arm 47 pieces of flaming, and sort of the rest of it gets left in your inventory. There's some technical challenges in implementing something like that, so it's been in the idea bank. We've been mulling it back and forth. It certainly feels like it would be a useful feature. We're just trying to decide whether it's worth the amount of time and effort it would be to overhaul and refactor how bait is armed on a trap. Brian says, in the old trade system, we could set a quantity price and send a URL. See, that's interesting. I don't recall being able to send a URL to a specific listing. But I think what the kind of request there, if kind of reading between the lines, would be more of a trade system. So rather than trying to bend a marketplace system so that you can trade one-to-one with somebody, I think that's not really a good use of the marketplace. So rather than trying to kind of piggyback the functionality and through some workarounds sell an item to a specific person, I think a better solution would be just have a trading system. So I think that's something that we would consider. Please bring back the quick buy option. All right, well, it'll be a forever kind of flip-flopping feedback here. I guess it's very polarizing, where some players find it a little bit overwhelming and some players find it very useful. So maybe that would be a good candidate to have something like a toggle. Just even here, if I can look at the marketplace, let's say I'm buying Super Brie. Let me find Super Brie. So say you want to buy Super Brie, you can click the buy button, and then there's the best. You can click the best to set the price. Currently that would be 15,399 gold each. Or you can put in whatever price you want, and you can choose to buy whatever quantity. So again, it's a bit of a shift from how the old system worked, and maybe just have to get used to, or kind of break that habit, that old habit. But there's no need to buy a complete buy order. So right now, looking at the marketplace, there are sell orders up, and somebody, or some combination of people, are selling 1,840 for 15,399 each. But the thing is, I don't need to buy. It's not like I need to fulfill that sell order anymore. I could just buy 40 of them, and then the marketplace would still be 1,800 of them left for sale that way. So it might just be kind of come down to break the mentality of looking at sell orders and thinking that you're buying that entire sell order. Those are just sort of, this is the stock currently available at this price. How many do you want to buy is entirely up to you. Ryan's still confused with the new marketplace and then the old. When I try to buy items from the sellers, but I don't get the item straight away when I completed the order, you have to go claim them in the other tab. And so that's just a little bit of feedback so that you see the items go into your inventory. Rather than kind of it being nebulous and not knowing when the items went into your inventory, as well as just the way the system works, the items in the gold get held in escrow. And so by you coming back to claim, that's when we can move those items in gold out of escrow and actually credit them to your account. There's also some technical stuff going behind the scenes where it's slightly more computationally expensive. There's more logic to run if I am going to edit your inventories, because you have to kind of lock the data to make sure I'm the only person right now that's going to make this change to you. And so by using the escrow system, it helps reduce how often one person is or somebody is editing somebody else's account or influencing someone else's data. And so that also kind of helps smooth that out, makes the marketplace run a little bit quicker. Uncle Gan says a way to alter the listing without taking it down. Yeah, that might be interesting as well. So there'd be a little bit of UI that we'd have to sort out there. But even just this morning, so I've been putting the new marketplace through its paces by liquidating my inventory. Basically, I've been using the browse feature, and I've been going through different categories, and I've been sorting by average price. And I look, well, what are some really expensive things I own? And I started to liquidate them. I got to predatory processors, and I think I had 6, and I sold a couple of them, but then when I checked, somebody else was selling them for a little cheaper, so I wanted to edit the order. There's some technical challenges there because your price gets set. So I think behind the scenes, if we did something like that, you would edit the order, but technically it would cancel it and create a new one right away for you. Yeah, and as Michelle's pointing out there, a lot of players were confused with the quick buy sell and costly mistakes were made. I think part of it might have been the transition from old system to new system, maybe just not being clear enough, like, hey, this thing works entirely differently. So people showed up and they were trying to use the new marketplace like it was, like how the old one worked, and that kind of led to some confusion. So hopefully we'll see. We'll kind of keep thinking it over. Maybe we can rethink that a little bit, make it a toggle that you opt into doing or something like that. But like I said, I'm confident once you get used to how the new system works and you kind of break the habit of trying to use it like the old one worked, that you'll find it more convenient overall because you can sell your items a lot easier, and you can buy items a lot easier. If somebody's selling Super Brie for a lower price, but in the old system there'd be this huge order. It's like, well, you got to buy 10,000 to get this price. Now it kind of stabilizes all the prices, and multiple people can fulfill the same order. KDM says, will there never be a failsafe for ribs? Nothing's planned. Certainly the reward structure in Queso Geyser can understand to be a little bit polarizing. But there are certainly, we try different reward structures in different areas, and there's definitely a player type that really enjoys the jackpot kind of reward mechanic. And so there's a little bit of mix in the area where the other traps, they have some other slow and steady buildups. But the rib is sort of tailored a little bit like the Warpath work. There's some strong jackpot sort of reward structure in place. That said, of course, it's not something we're going to do in every single area. It's always going to have that same type of reward structure. Certainly we've mixed it up with the Sunken City. You have your sand dollars with still a not quite rare drop of the predatory processor. Okay, I follow you, Brian. You're talking about the trade system from 8 or 9 years ago. Well, there's not too much left to support it in that way. Can you make wildfire slightly easier? Well, maps certainly helped. We also kind of did a few little tweaks and changes to how Bruticus and Storm Surge worked. So I would definitely encourage you to not try to do an entire wildfire run every single time you do an epic. Sprinkle in a little bit, use some flaming, and then when you claim your nest, you'll get back now even more bland queso, and you'll get even more wildfire ingredients. We basically took the, redid the drops there, where instead of a chance to drop wildfire ingredients, we took that and just moved it into its own slot. So now they drop a random item, and they always drop a wildfire ingredient. So that'll help you replenish your supply of wildfire. So almost think of it as you do your epics, you'll slowly start accumulating the stash of wildfire while you're just doing your normal geyser runs. And that'll allow you every once in a while to do a good wildfire run and see what you get. But then you might actually come out ahead instead of kind of going back and farming up your wildfire. You might kind of come out ahead a little bit where you spend less time pumping bland queso in the river, and you end up actually doing more hunts with wildfire in a shorter period of time. Ben says, can there be another checkbox to hide items you do own would make buying missing selling skins collectibles easier? That's interesting. One thing we always have to kind of consider is how many players are going to find a particular feature useful, and because there's some inherent complexity in a marketplace system, especially when the tariff is involved. Oh, look at that. What did I sell? I sold a Clock-a-Polt of Winter Past Blueprint. All right, I am now 250,000 gold richer. But there's some inherent complexities with the marketplace system, so I was a little bit hesitant to add too many features and numbers and stuff going on, because it kind of all snowballs up a little bit and increases the learning curve of everything. But a good solution for that, I think, are having toggleables, some preferences that you can opt into to customize your marketplace. So you can start with something simple and work your way up depending on how you like to use it. Maria says, why aren't tournaments available for all the areas? I'd love to do some for the queso area. I think we had some tournaments going, so the scheduler might pick them up. Otherwise, every once in a while, Michelle will schedule some custom tournaments as well, so that might be a good suggestion for her to schedule a few custom Queso Geyser tournaments. Other than that, the game kind of picks randomly from the pool of tournaments, and it schedules some every, I think every 3 hours? Maybe every hour it runs, and it sees if there are not enough tournaments, and then it'll add more if it needs to, if I recall. Metria says, I would love to see my inventory items sorted by approximate value. Oh, I would love to do that as well. There's some technical challenges there. Kind of hindsight, it would really have been nice if we structured sort of the item data in the game and your inventory a little bit differently, so we could very easily get the marketplace price of any single item. But currently, as it stands, it's slightly computationally expensive to display that in places outside the marketplace interface. Not an unsolvable problem, but unfortunately, it's not something we can quickly and easily accomplish. Ben says, got 200k bland and 100 stones and roots from my last epic. That's a pretty good haul. Must have been using flaming. But flaming is hard to come by already. It takes a little time for sure. It's the geyser in Queso Canyon in general. It's not sort of a short-term place. There's a good mixture of goals, though. I think there's sort of medium-term goals, long-term goals, and there's still kind of jackpot goals where they're either an extremely long goal to have, or they're kind of the jackpot that happens to a few. Could we make queso tournaments to be the exception to the rule and make them drop certain untradeable area loot like queso and or leaves? I'm not sure about kind of breaking the mold there. I think rather they'd all work the same way would be a little bit better. At hot queso and daily reward, please. Eventually. So one of the purposes of daily rewards are kind of what we call compression. And so with a game that's over 10 years old, there's lots and lots of content. So somebody just starting the game tomorrow, they've got a whole lot of stuff ahead of them, and it might be a little bit overwhelming, or it's a little, it's kind of not realistic to say, okay, to sort of go through everything in the game is going to take you 6 years. And so what we kind of do from time to time is compress some of the earlier areas, and so it kind of gets everybody up into a similar spot towards the end of the game. And that generally kind of makes things a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting. It's easier to play with other players as well. In kind of an online multiplayer game like this, it's more fun when you are a part of a community or a group and sharing goals together. And so it's a little bit soon to compress the geyser, but at some point we would start adding things like Gift of the Day would show up with maybe some spicier leaves. The calibrator, you'd be able to probably pick maybe medium or hot queso somewhere around there. Flaming might be a little bit too high. That might be maybe not quite like putting diamond cheese in the calibrator, but it's maybe a little bit too high tier of cheese. It's distracted me from 500 Queen Quesada. That journal theme, yes, it is quite the accomplishment. It's the ultimate bragging rights journal theme. Hindsight, we kind of maybe wish that Queen Quesada, we put something inside the unstable ember gadgets that would allow you to make caloringus cheese, and that would have helped maybe complete the loop a little bit better, where you could have hunted for Queen Quesada, poked some gadgets, get some caloringus cheese. It would be also easier to kind of make it feel a little bit different from Wildfire. But hindsight's 2020, I guess. So we were to remove that awkwardness of having to choose, do I want to hunt Queen Quesada or do I want to hunt caloringus? MLC says, can we get Queso Canyon maps completed added to the scoreboard? It might be a little awkward just to add one type of map to the scoreboard. I think in a perfect world, maybe we'd have a scoreboard for all the maps. I'd certainly like to see a scoreboard for every single mouse in the game, so you can just see, do I have the most dwarf mice? Do I have the most white mice? Do I have the most granite mice? You can just check that out. It's in the idea bank. There's some, again, kind of some technical challenges, and it's a little bit of a bigger project. Add tribal isle peppers, fire salt to queso to make some new spicy quesos. It'd be an interesting thematic fit, but might be hard to kind of get the balance to work out there. Ulver says, would be nice if higher level hunters were able to upgrade their queso pump beyond level 10. Actually, I didn't include it in Feedback Friday here, but we are brainstorming some queso geyser mini events, or a Queso Canyon mini event, where you'll be able to turn your pump level up to 11 and supercharge your pump for a while. So that might be coming. Anne says, mobile issues, charms and traps will not load for me on Android. That's a good segue into recent mobile update, any issues. So behind the scenes, we did the most recent app update. Actually, it was 2 updates ago now. We had a little hotfix come out. We did a lot of behind the scenes technical changes to the platform the app is built on. And so now obviously kind of going through everything, there's a big game. It's hard to play through every single area and do every single little accomplishment. And there's only so much we can do with sort of automated testing as well. So if you're having any difficulty using the mobile app, please get in touch with us by submitting a bug report. So if you play from the browser version, assuming you use both mobile and browser, you can submit a bug report by clicking Help up in the very top right, hit Contact Us, select, not ban appeal, select bug as the reason, and then you can do summary, just quick something like you pointed out there, cannot load traps. And then in the details, just as much detail as you can. Well, hopefully being concise, but again, more details the better. Especially the steps of like, I do this, I do this, I do this, and then this happened. It really is helpful because then the first thing we do when we try to tackle a bug is we try to go and make it happen for ourselves. So as soon as we can replicate it, that's usually the very first step we need to be able to fix it. So that's very helpful to provide steps to know how to replicate it. You can attach a screenshot too when you go through the browser, so a picture's worth 1,000 words. It's often a big help. Now if you play on mobile, assuming the mobile works for you, unless it's a problem specifically where you can't even load the app, you could click the navigation menu to bring up the list of options, hit help and support, hit contact us, and you can just put in some details about the bug there as well. Unfortunately, on Android's a little bit of a special challenge as well, just because of a little bit of fragmentation. There's lots of different versions of Android that are still actively used, and every hardware and every manufacturer has their own slight different flavor of Android, so it can be very tricky sometimes to test everything ahead of time. To a degree, for some edge case stuff, we have to rely on bug reports and okay, cool, let's set up a simulator for that device running that version of Android and see if we can replicate the issue. I believe on iOS there is a issue. It's a little intermittent. You sometimes might get 2 notifications that says your horn is ready, but we have solved that. I don't think the fix has gone out yet, though. We're rounding out a couple more things. We'll probably upload a build probably today, because I think we're also prepping some other updates. Grant says, could you still add Caloringus cheese to the game that haven't tracked into both? We could. I think, though, hindsight, what I was getting at, it would be nice if it was something that was in the unstable Ember gadgets. So it might be a little tricky to add that after the fact. One suggestion that came up that I was interested in, be neat to hear what hunters think, is for Corky. So there's a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Corky. Obviously, he's a tougher mouse, a little bit more rare to encounter. You can use flaming, and I think it's about an 8% chance to encounter Corky. So on average, you're going to need over 10 pieces of flaming to get him, but you know, with those numbers, you might go 20 without seeing him as well. Now, while you chase after Corky using your flaming, flaming gets you quite a bit of cork, and you might actually start to get cork a little bit more than you could reasonably use, especially if you're constantly hunting Corky for maps. So one suggestion that I thought was interesting was for quite a bit of cork, like a substantial amount. So if you feel like, I just got too much cork, you could craft some corked queso or something like that, a queso cheese that's infused with cork, and it'll have a much higher attraction rate for Corky, but you'll blow through your cork supplies pretty quick. So what I was interested in there is it felt very naturally. If you get unlucky and you hunt with flaming 100 times and you didn't get Corky, you're going to be sitting on this huge stash of cork now. And if you keep doing that over and over, you probably can't even use up the cork now, the massive stockpile that you've done. So this would be a pretty good amount of cork. So just whoop, drain all that cork out of your inventory, let you accomplish a different goal, but then kind of reset you back to square one. Stejan says, I like the idea of a cork boosting cheese, +1 in excessive cork. Ben loves Corky. Lily went 100 flaming on him last map. Woo! I don't think I have a calculator I can easily do exponents on, but let me see. The chance of failing would be 92% times. Oh, even 30 in a row. You have a 10% chance to go 30 flaming in a row without Corky. Super scientific methods happening here of hitting enter in a calculator multiple times. 50 times in a row is a 2.5% chance. So more than 1 in 50 people will go 50 dry without Corky. But then you'll be sitting on a lot of cork. Like as Cecilia points out in the chat here, she has over 3,000 cork. It'd be a challenge to use that up, I think. Especially if you continue to hunt after Corky. Slowly you'll just see that the cork arise quicker than you can use it. Eileen as well has over 6,000 cork. She'll trade it up. David says, it's good to have a rare mouse, to be honest, but excess cork for something else would be okay. That's interesting. So maybe we'll brainstorm some other ideas as well, kind of maybe come up with what we like. Ben says, just don't walk the line too close to Galleon Gouda. Well, I guess it would be something similar to Galleon Gouda. You can do Wouldn't quite work the same way, I guess, though, by doing shelter maps with friends. You can all collectively help one another get some Galleon Gouda, which takes the shelter from borderline non-existent to extremely super rare. Canyon mini event. Stejan says Fuzzy Drake gets replaced with Corky as Blank Queso Mouse for a week. I don't know. I think that would diminish some of the accomplishment of crowning that mouse. Pro Shark says Gouda string. It would come with the Tribal Isles Rift. And Maria says, wow, there's a queso tourney already added. Maybe Michelle slipped behind the scenes, helped you out, or maybe just happenstance that the automated tournament scheduler picked one up and scheduled one for you. Max says 102 flaming for his first Corky. That's got to be under a 1% chance of going that long without one. Use Cork to get pump 11 easy, says Thomas. Stejan says, you mentioned other updates soon. Well, the last thing I wanted to go over was just kind of give everybody a quick little update on the Valor Rift and where we're at. So it's coming along well. We wrapped up all of our preliminary sort of prototyping work. The last couple of weeks we've been working on actually getting the area up and running in the real version of the game in still sort of a playable prototype capacity. It's feeling pretty good. There's a couple little details maybe we're still humming and hawing over. But next week we're going to start now doing a little bit of design work on what the heads-up display could look like. And the mice are progressing well as well. I got a couple of mice here. I don't know if Jacob painted any of these live. I believe Lauren painted this one that's above me. So you probably hadn't seen that one before. I don't know if Jacob did this mouse on stream. But those are both upcoming Valor Rift mice. The area is themed after the King's Gauntlet, but it works quite differently than how the Gauntlet would. But it kind of has the same theme of moving upwards up a tower, using the character themes of doing the puppets, the thieves, the dancers, the meleeers, etc. And you're going to race to the top of the gauntlet to try to capture the eclipse before it can launch and escape. So it's a little bit of a race against the clock. We're still kind of playing around with the themes where he's summoning some energy that's coming up the tower, and so you got to fight your way to the top of the tower before that energy reaches the eclipse, and you can use it to escape. Now every time you capture the eclipse, you're going to unlock the ability to try the gauntlet again, but at an increased difficulty level, and as well as you get some power-ups and some upgrades to build to make yourself more and more powerful and take on more and more powerful versions of the gauntlet for bigger and bigger rewards. And so the longer you spend in the area, you get stronger and stronger, and you can keep trying higher and higher levels of the eclipse. Thomas says, Valor Rift, is it an Archduke area or Grand Duke? It will be Archduke. And so it will be Rift. It won't be the sort of, we're still kind of brainstorming. We'd like to do something a little larger scale, a Archduke area where you use almost all the power types. This would not be that area because it will still be exclusively Rift. That said, it would have been a good fit if it wasn't in the Rift because the Gauntlet uses quite a few power types, so that could have been an opportunity. But in the Rift, we were sticking to Rift traps only. Station says, to be honest, Galleon Gouda makes the shelter go from non-existent to non-existent. Yeah, I think it gets it from well under 1% to almost 1%. So it's not the biggest ground-shaking thing ever, but by no means does it make the shelter easy. Station says, does this mean Valor Rift will release before map season change later this year? That's the plan. If all goes according to plan, now there's still kind of some uncertainties with the area, so hopefully it continues to come together well and we don't reach any sort of creative or design challenges with it. But if all goes according to plan, we'd want to have it out before event season this year, so it'd be the second area of the year. And the map season, actually, we are planning on changing that in November. So we've often struggled to find what a good fit is for a November release because it's sort of awkwardly wedged between Halloween and the Great Winter Hunt. And so sometimes it doesn't work out well to do a new area because if it's something that takes you a little bit of time to go through, it feels like there's not enough time to feel like you sunk your teeth into it enough before the Great Winter Hunt starts up. So we thought the Relic Hunter season, actually, that'd be a great candidate for November because it's something where there's some new maps to try, some quality of life improvements, but you don't get too invested in it where you're sort of not looking forward to the Great Winter Hunt at that point. Says and Shez, so is this like the Iceberg and Fort Rocks and Valor and Rift? Yeah, a little bit. Kind of elements of everything. Iceberg is a little bit of a race against the clock as well. This one works a little bit differently. And Fort Rock's the idea of sort of upgrading as you go. There will be something that you're just kind of powering up, leveling up an ability to keep making the mice weaker. Because as you take on more powerful versions of the gauntlet, the mice start to get just too strong for your trap. So you can start leveling something up that'll make them weaker again, kind of put a hex on them. And try to keep the playing field level as you go. And then elements of Valor, mostly thematically. So there won't be all the different types of cheese and the potions and anything like that. But all the themes of the gauntlet will be there for the various types of mice. I know there's a dancer mouse that looked pretty cool. I forget who, I want to say Lauren painted her, maybe it was Maxine. Not sure. It looked pretty neat. I like this big sword guy too that Jacob painted as well. Just kind of, he looks almost sad to be dragging his giant sword. He's been cursed. Brian says higher levels of the Eclipse, more than one Eclipse. Jacob listened. I think it will be currently anyway. It will be the same Eclipse, but as you enter the tower, you can choose what sort of difficulty level you want to take on, and that's going to make the Eclipse more powerful, and all the other mice in the gauntlet more powerful as well. That said, we are also looking for, because it's a little anticlimactic if you can finish the mouse collection set a little bit too quick. So we kind of have some other elements in play, so multiple eclipses could potentially work there, but no guarantees if that's what we'll go with. KDM says Rift Lunar Eclipse and Rift Solar Eclipse. We actually played around with an idea of that, where there'd be two towers and there'd be a lunar and a solar tower, and you're getting a lunar and a solar eclipse to happen to get the total eclipse mouse to come out, but didn't quite flesh out. We ended up not going with that idea. Keyboard Smash there says, got my shelter within 50 galleon. Gouda, easy peasy. Definitely a little bit of luck there. It'd be hard to do that more than once. Ulver says, very cool idea to increase the difficulty. How is the difficulty increased? Harder mice? Yeah, basically, so you enter the floor. Right now we're calling it Prestige. So you start on Prestige level 1, and you run your way up the gauntlet. And when if you capture the Eclipse before it can escape, you now unlock Prestige 2. And so you can either choose to do it again at Prestige 1, or now you can take on Prestige 2. And when you try Prestige 2, all the mice are tougher. So you might have to upgrade your charm a little bit, make sure you have the best weapon and base sort of going. And then if you manage to capture the Eclipse in Prestige 2, that unlocks 3. And so now if you did 2 after that, you win unlock 4. You always have to try on the highest Prestige level to unlock the next one. And so if at a point it gets a little bit too tough, you could take your Prestige level down a little bit and farm up some more supplies to try to upgrade yourself, make yourself stronger, and then step back up and try the strongest version again. Any new trap or base plan? It's still a little bit early. Open to suggestions on what you'd like to see. There were some interesting ideas for a base floating around that will get stronger as you have conquered higher level prestige. But a lot of it was going to come to kind of play testing and balance, see how long it takes to go through the area. Is luck for loot turned on? I believe it will be. That said, as we make the mice stronger and stronger, at a certain level, it's going to be like all the mice are kind of boss mice at that point, where power will be king over luck. So your Rift Ultimate Power Charms, that sort of thing, will be probably a little bit more beneficial as you get up into higher tiers of the tower, until you upgrade yourself to make them weaker again, and then luck might be a little bit beneficial as well. So there'll be a little bit of ebbs and flows. Brian says, since this is the first Archduke, a new Rift Codex is stronger than Rift Stalker. If that's what you'd like to see, let us know. We're open to suggestions on what kind of rewards you'd like to see from an Archduke Rift level or Archduke level Rift location. Will there be any Twilight Eclipse references? Probably not. Have the Eclipse Mouse go with the stages of the Eclipse. Total Eclipse Mouse for the hardest difficulty. Yeah, I kind of like that idea as well. We'll just have to see if it comes down to having time to do multiple versions of the Eclipse, and then as we're playing through it, we'll kind of, I think, make that decision if we think that'll be a good fit. Will it be the same mice but with different mouse power and effectiveness? Yes, so all the same mice. That said, there are a few mice, and actually I believe that this one beside me here is a mouse that gets added as you reach higher levels of prestige. So and that'll kind of space out how long until you've found all the mice in the gauntlet, because it'll take a little bit of time to get your prestige level high enough to get the highest level prestige mouse to come out. But then once it comes out, you'll encounter them on every run thereafter, if you take on that level of prestige. Sean just joined in. Don't know if the issue of accepting supplies from anyone else keeps getting turned off has been brought up. That has been logged. We've had a little bit of difficulty replicating it, but we are looking into it. KDM says, do the points and gold increase as well? That one's still a little bit up in the air. That was an idea where literally the points and gold reward for the mice go up. I think that's going to be a little bit tricky to find the right balance there. So instead, I think what we're going to go with is when you complete your run, you claim a cash. You claim a big reward for completing the run, and there'll just be points and gold in there. So by taking on higher levels or a tougher version of the gauntlet, you'll get more gold for completing that level of the gauntlet. Thomas says, I assume it won't overtake Clockwork base or require it for the new base. Again, a little too early to tell. If it was something that leveled up as you accomplish goals in the gauntlet, it would just come down to how long does that goal take to finish, and if that's a pretty long time, then it might overtake the Clockwork base, and the Clockwork base would be a useful tool in building up the tower that way. You ready for Quar? Quar! We're just about to move on to the Quar. The question, the answer, the reward. Oh no, your coffee spilled, Dave. How did that happen?
Hi, everybody. Someone goes, hi, Georgia, by the way. They probably, like, sensed you, like, glancing that way, and then they got it in really quick.
Sense of glance.
Sense of glance.
All right, I think you're going to know this trivia question.
I know things.
Let's put it up on screen here. What do we got? Woo, 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 woo. All right. Let's go small. Or big. We are big. All right, so let me see here. Whoa, whoa. So there we go. Here's the question.
Well, that's a good question,
yeah,
dude.
that's a good question.
Yeah. Someone says, I look like I'm cosplaying Thor. Thor from Endgame or Thor from Ragnarok? Because one of them's a compliment. One of them might be a dig, you know what I'm saying?
Can you dig it?
When you're
You
digging.
can dig it.
Oh, I thought you were singing, will they sing again? Wow, winging.
I get knocked down,
There you go.
but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. All right, let's see
get
if I can
knocked
find
down.
font size that's going to work. Yeah, 230 font. What do you think about that? Oh, all right, there we go.
Okay,
super hard to read.
Yeah, that is kind of clash. You get more drop shadow in there, Dave.
More drop shadow.
Drop shadow down to the right.
It's pretty to the
Down
max.
to the right.
I
Down
can't,
to the right.
I can't choose where the drop shadow goes there.
That's
That'll thicken it up a bit.
Sure.
Maybe just a little smaller font. There we go. Anyway.
Does Jordan always come? Does Gorio always come in to remind Dave that FBI should be ending now? I kind of come like near the end, just like it's like a little finale. All right. So, what important moment in MouseHunt development history was the original King's Gauntlet launched as a part of? 3.
3. Yeah, you know what? 3 is correct.
What?
3 is correct. 3 is
but
kind of the correct
but they
answer.
got to choose the unit of measurement.
Yeah.
3 what?
We're missing the unit.
So now
yeah.
everyone knows. What is that? Why do you have 2? Why do you have 2 of them? What are you doing over there?
Reasons.
Reasons?
MouseHunt Endgame is incorrect. 3.0, still missing a unit of measurement, and bonus marks for a word as well that you would tack on to the end there.
3.0?
Third birthday, no.
Well, didn't...
All right, so Brian's got... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle's cheating here.
Michelle, you're cheating here. You're a
in-
staff member.
Yeah.
Yes, it is version 3.
Version 3, and...
oh, sorry, 3.0001 to the power of 10. But yeah,
it's all zeros.
Floating point math, you know. How it
Yeah,
goes.
rounding marketplace prices.
All right. Nice work, everyone.
You know the code name for what MouseHunt 3.0 was for bonus marks?
Bonus. Wait, what was your
Bonus
follow-up
marks.
question? What's the bonus
The
marks?
code name for MouseHunt 3.0.
Oh, short tail, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, no, long tail. There you go.
Long tail. Yep, the King's Gauntlet
Technically,
launched.
these are also correct answers. It launched
Oh, I
as
see, I
part
missed
of
that.
long tail because
True.
it came
All
out.
right.
It finalized everything.
So credit to Nitora for long tail. Credit to Brian for the first V3.0.
Yeah, nice work.
And,
Oh, and someone was saying too. It's like, is the new dev going to come to say hello? It's been a few months. He hasn't come to any of the Feedback Fridays.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Spinach. I think we're spinach.
I think we're spinach. Medium
Dave
trail.
Medium
A
trail.
reward link chilling out there. Larry's got a reward for the plethora of correct answers. I believe we launched the gauntlet, and then every week, maybe, we unlocked the next floor, so everyone was kind of a race to see how many potions everyone could get within a week.
A race.
And see if who would be able to do it
A race.
on the last week, if there were anyone left with potions.
You made Brian Lee... Oh, he deleted it.
Retracted it. Uh-oh.
You do it officially.
We do it officially.
Oh, wait. What?
Brian's got it.
What?
He's got the
wasn't that
friendly
same one?
blue wrench
He's got that
to let
friendly
you know
blue
the
wrench.
link is okay.
You got the blue wrench. It's not Judi Dench.
Not Judy.
I'm Judi Dench. Because generally, I don't think Judi Dench has ever been on a YouTube gaming stream. So we can guarantee every time you see a blue wrench, it's probably not Judi Dench.
Safe to say that it's probably not Judi Dench.
Oh, the link wasn't working. That's why you left the colon out.
Don't forget your colon.
Oh, we gave him a half rack of ribs. I like that though. The ribs like, oh, here's your half rack. That's too many ribs. That's billions of dollars of golders.
That scene from the Flintstones where Fred just gets the big dinosaur ribs.
Yeah.
It's like, Wilmer!
Now, here's a question. If the waitress or the delivery person that could hold the ribs and put it on the car, does it mean they can lift the car up? Because the car is made out of concrete rollers. There's no way it would tip over.
Then that would mean
Wait,
the ribs
is that
are
a cartoon that was meant for comic relief?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't they have a laugh track in one or two of those, like during some of the seasons?
I don't recall.
So it's like, hey, remember, because the cartoon comedy that wasn't for kids wasn't like a thing. So we got to put a laugh track to make sure the adults know that adults are watching and laughing at it. Like all those sitcoms you've been watching with strangely racist undertones.
What sitcoms are you watching?
From the 30s? Have you?
Oh,
that's what
the 30s.
The Flintstones. Yeah, during the same time. Yeah.
Flintstones are that old?
Dude, yeah. Hanna-Barbarians. Flintstones. The same time as Jetson. Yeah, like 30s, 40s, 50s.
I'm a Flintstone kid. Buy vitamins.
60s? Oh, okay. No, wait. That's the name of the... Hold on, scroll down. I got the dates wrong regardless. Where
166 episodes.
Oh,
because the guy.
Okay. It started in the 60s, not the 30s. All right. Too old.
No,
but the 60s still had some sitcoms going.
Sounds very like when did television really come out?
Television came out in the 30s, 40s, yeah. I Love Lucy was
one
of the... Oh, yeah. Back then it was... like Wizard of Oz was in 33, and it was the first like color, the Technicolor, right?
Oh yeah.
And then everyone would just go to that because it was like
Wizard of Oz was in the 30s.
Yeah, man. And then TV shows, a lot of them are still black and white for decades, but they would like go back and colorize them using Technicolor.
Well,
that's Spider-Man. Which is also from the same kind of era back then. Or no, that would be 60s. That's the same era as cartoon. Yes, cartoon.
Cartoons.
So I'm thinking of Mickey Mouse in the 30s. But then I Love Lucy had a lot of colorized episodes. That was a big thing back then. That's why they were also very popular. It's like, oh, I want to watch the shows with the colors in them. The rest are boring. But a lot of them did also. They were in black and white. There's an I Love Lucy history lesson for the day. I used to watch a lot with my sisters. That's how
I hate Lucy show.
I hate... That's Everybody Hates Chris. That's the counter. The counter to it. The counter argument.
Everybody loves Lucy.
Loves Raven.
You watch it. Everybody
Yeah, how
loves
come it wasn't
Lucy.
called I Love Raven? Ray! Why did it? Deborah!
This isn't the show. Oh, jeez, Ray.
How's everyone going there?
All right, well, trivia question.
So I like how that is. It used to be like, oh, thanks for sandblasting metal. Now it's the ribs has superseded the sandblasted metal. Finally. Fine now.
I can afford one. Should I buy a rib?
I mean, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should. You can afford a Rolex, but should you buy a Rolex? Maybe you can. I don't know. Holy, you just gonna buy it at the average? No,
that's the best.
Why would you?
It's simply the best.
Oh, I was looking
better than all the rest.
Yeah, but is it on a downward or upward trend, Dave?
Oh,
just
yeah.
sell your house, buy all into some stocks, and hope for the best.
A diverse rib portfolio.
Yes, a diverse.
Oh, I want to invest in ribs.
Well,
on some ribs, yeah.
How many of you devs play old school RuneScape? Actually, none of us now. But Parham, the new dev, he came from old school.
Yeah. And
then he quit for a bit, but now he wanted to join up, so he's playing 3. Yeah, Yeah, they see us on because we're part of the MouseHunt service. They see us
on
playing.
Discord, yeah.
If you see me and Dave playing at the same time, we're likely in an elite dungeon together, and I'm likely already dead.
Probably, yeah.
If you encountered a boss. I think I've only survived one boss fight. I've been part of like 2 or 3 like kills, and even when I use like the death touch start, I would die as I was killing them, and only once have I survived.
The water dude, you're good.
One time. No, but then I
made it through the dragon.
But the one time I was part of the water dude, and at the very last second as we were killing him, the water like touched me and I died. I was like, God.
This water hurts.
And then the dragon one was like the next, like, okay, maybe now I can do it. And no, it's like just that one I didn't even get to be part of the kill.
Once you get the hang of what's going on, I
need more food though.
Yeah.
My constitution's not high enough. Now we're just talking.
You just do no damage. You just stand there healing the entire time. Like, is it over yet?
All right, just stand there. My food's gone.
Look at this. Mr. Putt is literally playing RS3 right now.
Mr. Putt? Where do you see that?
Mr. Putt.
Oh, hello.
Just.
What are you working on, Mr. Putt? Any skills? I just basically smith bars all day. That's my job. Smith the bars.
That's my job here.
New racket, because I was buying Glorious bars and then making Masterwork. Now, no one's selling Glorious bars for any reasonable price. So now I'm making Immaculate bars, not folding them, and selling those in the marketplace.
Oh, is that racket going?
And that one's fast. It's a fast process.
Workshop racket. All right. Well, let me figure out what we're doing here. Steak and fries, anyone? I'm getting hungry talking about ribs. Now people are talking about fries.
Ribs, fries. There should be... Yeah, we should make a food-based MouseHunt area.
There's the bacon base.
Yeah, the bacon base. So you put the rib trap on top, and then you can add fry charms. Make a poutine. Make a whole poutine on your base.
All right, I'm getting too hungry for this.
Oh, the skin could be just covered in gravy.
Oh,
curds. No. Where did we go?
Shh, it's okay. It's okay, Giorgio. Look at this. This is going to be too much devs. Ready?
Okay, go.
Oh!
Good work. Good work, us. Guacamole mouse. Like a mole mouse?
Yeah. Wasn't there a guacamole pun already in the game?
I don't know, was there?
No, maybe we were just thinking about it.
Maybe we were just thinking about it. Armor spikes for custom fitted trimmed armor. Whoa.
Alright, well, now did we miss any MouseHunt related chat? I would think probably here. So we got...
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I was reading it. There's about a lot of jokes about
Thanks
ribs.
for the 1,000 ribs.
Thanks for... Oh, you guys want ribs.
Maybe like some nice like Chinese spare ribs, you know?
Like pork style, pork with the sweet red sauce, whatever that's made of.
Got
Sugar
that
and
deep
delish.
smoke in there, a little bit of pink pushing in.
You can see the pink, the bone pinked from the outside. I don't know what.
After we finish eating them, we can like make a really powerful draconic trap out of them somehow.
In real life?
Yeah, in real life. Yeah.
Well, you know
the dragons running around.
You know who puts that kind of food together at the market of St. Lawrence? Yeah,
good choice.
Good choice. Good choice.
All right.
There's this. So we go to this. There's a market nearby in Toronto called St. Lawrence Market. Some of you may have heard of it. And there's tons of the like shops, coffee shops, fresh produce, and then like hot food stands where you can kind of make a combo, Italian and Chinese and all that. And there's one Chinese spot we like to go to, really like nice quality stuff. And the guy who works the register has been there for years, and he's just like this really like peppy, friendly guy. And
Peppiest, most friendly guy in the world.
He always look inside like, oh, chicken, good choice, yeah. And he's just like very like, oh, nice to see you guys.
He remembers everybody that comes.
He sees our group.
Like,
he knows
you're here last Friday.
Hey, how's it going?
I was like, oh, missing some people today. When like it's not all of us. Yeah, most friendly guy in the world. New Rift detector. That's interesting as well. So a comment there, and we'll wrap up on that note. Actually, here we'll go back to being.
We'll go back to MouseHunt.
Yeah,
stuff?
we'll go back to being a mouse here. A new Rift detector, kind of leaning towards doing that as well. So maybe an upgrade to your Rift detector, something like that. Is that something you'd like to see for the Valor Rift? Is a little bit more of an accomplishment to unlock the area as well.
You need to tune it a little bit to detect the new Rift. So how are you gonna miss a giant column of towers landing on
parallel universe?
Yeah, I guess.
Like
but how does the map
do it?
Yeah. I guess the map is attuned to the detector. Have we told them though that
rib detector
to find Valor?
Yeah, you add 100 ribs to your rib detector, balanced.
No, that's too much. I don't think anyone in the game has that much gold.
Definitely more upgrades for the rift detector.
Tower
upgrade, yeah. It seems. I feel like it's been a popular suggestion for years.
The fan is gone.
Oh yeah. It's reached video encoding max. So we're at the hour mark.
I think we kind of missed it a bit when we went from Rift Walkers to Rift Stalkers, like this to introduce to the Stalker group, because they stalk a little more than us.
Yeah.
Obviously, that should have been one moment to like tune their detector.
Yeah, especially the reward structure shifted creepy. There. It was hard to go out of order. If you go through it without any event gear, because you kind of need to get your first Rift trap from Narnia, then you need to go get a Rift base if you don't have the original Rift base, or upgrade your Rift base, then you unlock kind of some charms in the Burrows Rift, so it's kind of a little bit of intrinsic order to go through depending on how you've tackled events. Yeah. But as my computer overheats and we're at the hour mark, that's a good spot.
Someone asked Dave if we play
to wrap things up.
Play Risk on our lunch breaks. Yeah, we play one game every lunch break, and it actually finishes.
I don't think it's been opened, actually.
No, actually, it's a brand new set that Joel brought to the office one day 8 years ago.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, where I believe Jacob will join us, and I've totally messed up my stream layout, so I'll fix that. Happy hunting. Have a good one.
Do you know you can get a free rib if you do this certain thing in the game, but you got to click that button before I finish the sentence? Really? Oh, yeah, that's how you do it.
We didn't take that out?
No, we left that.